Hello, beautiful people. So today we are with Rodrigo, my BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu teacher. It's a pleasure to have you here, Rodrigo. So I will
Thank you very
do.
much.
Thank you so much, Professor, to having the time to me. I will do a little presentation about Rodrigo for the ones that still don't know, and after we will do a couple of questions. So Rodrigo is a certificated yoga teacher and a martial artist holding a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Rodrigo had a previous career in control engineer, but was not a fulfilling career. With the exposure to yoga and other systems, lead him to explore new ways of thinking and new possibilities in life. After taking a sabbatical year in 2015, Rodrigo realized how the dots are connecting. And today, he used the perfect combination of jiu-jitsu and yoga as tool to express his ideas and help others to grow. How are you today, Professor, again?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you. The first time I'm doing this kind of meeting like this, so I get I have to get in the mood still, but my coffee is helping to get
The,
yeah,
the thinking now, Professor. It's a conversation like we have in the dojo. It's
yeah,
a really pleasure because I already talk with you weekly, daily. I know
yeah.
that you have a lot to teach, and I like a lot your way to thinking. For the ones that still don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about your background, your
Yeah.
childhood, please?
Yeah, so if as you can notice by my accent, I'm Brazilian, right? So I was born I was born in the north of Brazil. My town is called Belém, and there is a curious thing about Belém is because the Gracie family, when they migrated to Brazil back in the days, they were settled in Belém, my hometown. Like Helio Gracie, for example, was born there. Carlos and Helio Gracie, they are from there, right? And those legends, like this Maeda, Koma, like the Matsu Maeda, the guy who brought like this, one of the Japanese guys who brought Jiu-Jitsu to Brazil, they settled in my town as well. So when I was a kid, I was very active, very, I wanted to move a lot. So my parents, they brought me to judo because jiu-jitsu wasn't that big. Like in Rio de Janeiro back then in the 90s, it was big and stuff, but not in the north, not where I came from. Yeah, but then in the judo, I got those stories about Maeda and the Gracies. And we train a little bit of ground also a lot. I remember like this first, like this collar choke I learned, like, I don't know. I was already 9 by the time, but I started at 5. I still like, everybody was just so big, even though like I was training with the kids, but sometimes also with teenagers, and I just have this feeling that all those teenagers, like 13 years old, they were so huge for me. But then I developed this kind of, it is just so natural to me to be at the mat, it's just like my home, actually my first home. My second home is here, kind of. And then yeah, I grew up on this already in this culture, like learning, listening a lot about the Gracies and Jiu-Jitsu. But I couldn't do Jiu-Jitsu back then because there was no black belts there, like no one. Then when I moved out to another city, I was like around like 14. Then I had a break. Yeah, that was like a very difficult moment, like everyone has difficult moments, right? So it was around 98 stuff. Then I stopped with everything with jiu-jitsu. And then I actually dedicated more into playing because music is like one of my as big passion as jiu-jitsu for me. Since kid I play, and then I was playing bands and I was performing some music back then. But then I moved to another city where I had also my band. So I let a bit jiu-jitsu aside. Like between 13 and 16, I was just playing around. Then I met a friend and he said like, yeah, do you want to try this jiu-jitsu thing? I was like, what? There's a black belt in town, something like this. At the end, we just found out the guy wasn't a black belt. He was a blue belt. But anyway, it's another story. But then I went there very curious to try out. I still remember the guy, like, I couldn't really, I wasn't, of course, I was like still like a young guy, so I didn't have so much knowledge, but I already spotted something wrong with that guy, you know. His hip was a bit like misplaced. He was teaching side control, but like, I still remember there was something on his hips that I saw like, there's something strange here, you know. This is not like the real deal, but let's do it, you know. You always have to keep your mind open, huh? And I remember my first experience jiu-jitsu was sparring. I mean, there was no like class that I came, I got introduced, I gave my ID, I changed the suit, and then I got introduced. And no, there was not. It's not like today, not so professional as today. Back then it was like just a mess, you know. And my first experience already sparring, and then I started sparring with a friend. And then I got him like in this, what we call today, like in this Eddie Bravo system, like the spider web, you know. I just got his arm like this in the leg. And I was like, wow, you know, trying to pull his arm out. And then eventually I got the arm. I couldn't finish. I don't know. I didn't tap, but I extend the arm. And I felt so good. So like, wow, I want to do this. And then everybody also was like, yeah, Rodrigo, you should stick with us and train with us. Yeah, then this black belt guy, that was a long history, but then he left because we spotted somebody, told that somebody that he came from other towns, blue belt, and then he just left, abandoned us. We didn't have a coach. We were just three teenagers who wanted jiu-jitsu and no one. And then a huge, like I still remember, I met him in the Europeans 2 years ago. He's still like, he's today black belt. But back then he was like a blue belt, a huge dude. And he was also like, he wasn't that like teaching and that patient. He was just like smashing us. There was no like, here, this is an armbar from the guard. Here, move your hips. No, it was, my just 2 years of jiu-jitsu, I just got like smashed, you know. I believe I got to learn jiu-jitsu actually like started for real in 2003 because between like this age, like 2000 and 2003, 2000 and yeah, January, like December 2002, right? It was just me being smashed. Like no, no. But I kept coming because I thought like someday I will be so good. I will develop. I will learn this thing, and eventually I gotta beat this guy. Not he was our coach, you know, but at the same time I was like a bit angry with him because he was just using us to keep fit, you know, like keep on training. So yeah, and I had this feeling that someday I'm gonna be so good that I will beat him, you know. And then my first tournament, I was with 2 months of jiu-jitsu. I still remember. Just 2 months of jiu-jitsu. The other guys, they had more time, and they're like, there is a tournament in a nearby city. Nearby is like 350 kilometers for Brazil. Is nearby. And we packed in the car. I still remember, you know, we drove to this to the tournament, and I had so much pain in my arms. My joints were so like hurting a lot, sore, and like this. I was also the no, I wasn't the youngest, but I was like, I was the smallest. Yeah, I wasn't the youngest, but I was the smallest. And everybody was like, I ended up being just scratched by everyone. And then they said like, if you last like 30 seconds in the first fight, if you just, you know, like they were a bit like, you know, my friends, I love them, you know, like, but they are like mean, you know. Yeah. Then we know we celebrate because they all thought that I would be completely crushed, you know. Things didn't turn out like this. I actually woke up like a beast in the tournament. I don't know how, like it just narrow focus my mind, like survival mode. And I remember that was my first experience in life that I haven't thought about anything for 2 minutes or so. That's how long it took, or even less. I don't remember. I just narrow focus. I took the guy down. I passed his guard, and then he got me in a guillotine. I was like on top, but he was like down bottom like in the guillotine. And I was like, oh my God, I can't breathe. It was a very interesting experience, you know. But then I don't know how I just got out and took his arm and finished. And then people were like, wow, yeah. And it was good because it wasn't good because people were like suddenly thinking that I was cool, but it was good because my mind was so empty, and I thought like I want to have the experience again. Eventually, I kept on the tournament. I finished my second fight, and then the final, I got a 2 years. The guy was already 2 year white belt, and he took my bag. I was so sad. I lost by 4 points. But then, but what I'm telling this history is just to tell that it was the first moment in my life where my mind was completely like empty for just a few minutes. But I felt that experience, and since then, what kept me coming into jiu-jitsu, besides the anger of wanting to beat the guy, was also like, how can I repeat that experience? How can I just be completely empty of everything, you know? And so far, I've been in my life doing many things like meditation. I've been meditating for long periods of time, with yoga. I also tried some Tai Chi back in the days, like many years ago. But the only like honest experience that I have like in this so-called flow state is through Jiu-Jitsu. There is nothing else that's come not even close to it. Yeah. Then I came to, and then I went to university. Back then I studied engineering, right? As you told me, it was like I had to do something with my life. You know, it was just more. You can't just play guitar every day and fight jiu-jitsu. You have to do something in your life. You know, that's what my parents told me. That the society around me, everybody putting that pressure in the young mind, like putting like doctrinate, you know, go into a. And then I said, all right, I don't want to study everything you guys suggested me. I'm gonna study something completely different. And I went to engineering. It was a very hard study, and I kind of, you know, I didn't enjoy much. I was happier on the mat, or I was happier when I was playing. Yeah. And then I came to Germany because I thought maybe it's Brazil, you know, maybe it's the environment there. People are too crazy. If I am like studying in Germany and Europeans have open mind, things will be better there. But it was me just trying to avoid the inevitable, which was I wasn't happy with that. Yeah.
I think it's a perfect description, and I think it comes with a question, with your acknowledge of knowing that you didn't want to follow your career as an engineer, and I think that it happens to a lot of people. Which advice you will give to me or to other person that is too afraid of taking a risk because society?
Exactly. Society. Life is very short, and you have one shot. You have one shot, right? So after a car accident I had back in the days, also I realized that pretty much I was during the university. Actually, I had a car accident, and I kind of almost saw like my life like in 1 second, you know. So I got to understand that things are very short here, and it's not good just to waste time by pleasing other people, even though it's your parents, you know, even though it's like, yeah, your best friends, your parents, your family, your society. Like if you live to please others, you know, and look, I am earning a lot of money. Look, I have a decent job. Look, I became a very a good citizen. You know, I became like you have to do these things for your own, not for other people. You know, and most of us, unfortunately, sometimes we live in the self-sabotage mode. We really believe we are doing this for us, but actually we are not. We are doing this because the pain of social isolation, the pain of being excluded is so big that we end up complying and doing what society, what other family or the social groups require for us. So my advice is, it's like, I don't know if I can like talk like this. It sounds pretty aggressive, but don't give a shit. You know, you have to really be honest to yourself and say like, what is really like what makes me I don't like the word happy. It's a very tricky word, but what makes me like feeling whole as a whole, you know, may make me feel like make me feel enjoying my life. And as you find this, the second question you have to make is, how can I monetize that? Because it's not only finding your wow, I love surfing, but you know, how can you earn money surfing? You know, but and I love you know, doing music, or I love writing, you know, or drawing. It's very nice. You found something you like. But the second question is, how can you monetize that? And this is something you have to spend a lot of time thinking through and develop a plan. You cannot just go impulsive, because you're gonna burn out, you know. So you need, especially if you are very um, I don't know if I can like highly creative, like, you know, personality. You have to stick on earth and develop a plan and say, okay, my passion is to make coffee, you know, so I will do like this, and through this I'm gonna find. But you find your freedom also financially in this world if you feel like you wake up every morning and you know, okay, I'm gonna do this and I love doing this and I could do this without money, you know. A friend of mine who's a millionaire, he's a very rich guy and very famous also. He told me like, if I transfer now 1 million to your account, would you stop teaching? I said no, I would teach in a better place, in a bigger place, in a more fancy place, but I will keep teaching, man, you know, like I can hire 2 more black belts to help when I'm sick, when I, you know, but I will keep teaching. So that's important.
I think it's not one great advice, but three great advice. And with this come me the question. So do you think that you already find your purpose in life with jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, this is a very good question also about purpose, right? Because those those um those words or roads, they can lead or mislead us, right? You can find your purpose in life even if you are cooking, for example, or if you're preparing your breakfast. If you're biking, for example, on my biking to my to my training, I'm finding purpose in everything I do, you know, and that's important thing to consider. Because for me, for example, it was difficult to find meaning working or being surrounded by people with a homogeneous mindset, like engineering, for example, you know, where everybody thinks kind of the same way. Uh, it was difficult for me to say like, where is like I have, why can't we like think a bit out of the box or go in on other perspectives? Because most people, they are more like thinking the same way. So, but it's mine thing, you know. It could be, for example, for somebody that this kind of approach, like with a group of engineers, and this is a purpose, you know. So this is like you fulfill your inner like that drive through equations and dealing with other problems, you know, which is a very beautiful thing too. So for me, jiu-jitsu is like that, my social contact, where I find, as you see, like the place we are, like how many nationalities we have sometimes in a day. You know,
A lot.
so many people from so many places that you say like, what did they, and so many different histories they connect, and we all are connected through one thing, that's jiu-jitsu. We all love, we can be so different in many aspects in life, we can disagree with everything, but that is like something that we, and I like this kind of heterogeneous, you know, like this kind of multi
Environment.
yeah, of different perspectives, because I feel like it's enriching me as a person, and it's also helping the others of getting better angles of, you know, perspectives, right?
Exactly.
So that's my purpose. That's I get fulfilled with that. I get fulfilled like seeing being I cannot say confronted, but being like people like meeting different perspectives, you know, and building my own complexity as a human being. And jiu-jitsu is a very good tool for that, because yeah, it brings different people. So that's for me like what I can call purpose. But on the other hand, many people they like jiu-jitsu, for example. They train, right? They go to the gym and stuff, and they might believe like, oh, that's my purpose. I'm gonna be a coach, or I'm gonna be an athlete, you know. But this might mislead them, because maybe their purpose is like, you know, they feel like they enter that stage that I told you, when they are like cooking. They can be very good cooking. They enter that stage when they are, you know, that flow stage, which is a very important thing. It's the complexity of your wholeness of your being through the activities that you perform. You understand? That's so important. It can be achieved by different ways. You know, you don't need to be a BJJ coach or traveler or whatever. Like this, my generation, especially our generation, these millennials, they have this like, I'm gonna travel the world to different cultures. 10%, 5% of them might be really fulfilled with that. I'm not criticizing it,
Exactly.
you know, but there are a lot of people who follow this and think like, that's what I need, you know, and this is what I call about misguiding this purpose, you know.
Exactly.
That is one thing also called like, for example, achievement and success, you know. And when you call like your purpose, you know, you're calling it like, did you achieve something, or you feel a successful being? That's also not important thing. And people, they misguide, like they go into this extrinsic motivation, like what the society wants from me, where I, you know, I don't know, I get millions, I get a new car, or look my medal, you know, like they think like that's the achievement, you know. But this can mislead you to more downwards, you know, spiral. So yeah,
I think it's a great. And now it comes another question, exactly with your last sentence. How do you define success? Because I think it's just the right time.
yeah, success is something that you feel, you know, and they can't be measured by anybody else. Success is something that you achieve by your own standards. Are you are successful, for example, when you wake up today and you look and you say like, all right, let's say success in jiu-jitsu, right? All right, if I could train, or if I could spar with me 2 years or for a year ago, I would just destroy myself. I would just smash myself. So you become successful. Or when you listen or you read something, for me, this is like my personal measure. So everyone has a personal measure. When I read something that I say, wow, I understand that, or I know like the meaning behind this. It's like 5 years ago, I would just pass through it without seeing the importance of it. So the success is something that you are measuring with yourself, you know. You are seeing how you improved in through the years. The years are passing, and the things are much better. As I told like my wife yesterday, when I was like 23 or so, you know, I was so poor. I was living like over 450 euro a month only, you know, like paying 250, like, and time had passed. I improved my situation, you know, so quite significant, like very much so. Those things I can measure as success, you know, like when you compare yourself to what the other achieved, like, that guy has a blue belt now and I am still white belt. Oh, that's mean, you know. You're comparing yourself to other person, and comparing always leads to a kind of weird mindset where you think you should deserve that, and that, you know, then you are fighting for like limited resources, and normally you shouldn't be doing this. It's like, this is the kind of zero-sum game, you know. One will win and the other will lose everything, you know. And success is not a zero-sum game, you know. It's more like a kind of positive sum game where everybody can profit, you understand.
Okay.
If you are having being a successful person, for example, you know, you're going, you have your classes, you know, people profiting from your class. You don't need to go to other gym and say, I'm better coach than you, you know, it's like, this is not success, you know. I have 301 students, you have 299, I'm better than you. This is like this kind of status, you know, you're going to be fighting for status. And this is a very primitive and old fight in the human brain. Like, you go, no, the primitive brain, they're fighting for status. Even the chimpanzees and so on, they fight for status. And this is kind of something to be always like taking, you have to be always aware of those patterns in mind, because they misguide you through the life. You know, you end up being wanting to just to win, to be visible, because you think like that's the only way I can be happy, you know, that's the only way I can survive in this world. But this is not success. This is kind of temporary achievements, you know. And when you achieve, there are somebody who will be jealous and say, oh, I want to achieve that, I want to take your place. And this is like, you're going to be struggling your whole life. Being successful is like, as I told you, where I've been yesterday, like when I play, for example, you know, I say, wow, I couldn't play that for 6 months ago, man. Now I can play this thing. This is success, you know. I'm not a Slash, or I'm not a, you know, like those guitarists like the, you know, Malmsteen, or, you know, not those guys. You know, I cannot do that. I cannot compare myself with them, but, you know, I can do better than I did before. This is success. Yeah.
Well, I think it's amazing. It's like you said it. If you have to compare to somebody, it's to yourself and what you did yesterday. Because comparisons to others, will not make you grow as a person. My question is, how do you think that we can change that as a society?
Yeah. When you expand from the individual to the whole, you know, well, first of all, we have like, in societies, like we have integrated, like we have two kinds of experience. You have the differentiated and the integrated experience, right? Like differentiation is like you have a group of individuals, you take one of them and you specialize this individual, you make him more complex, right? And then you might try to reintegrate that person or that entity back into the system. So the system will profit also with them, but they will get unstable because that differentiated part is way ahead of the system. So what I believe as a society, I believe that it's more like an individual quest, and always like it's more how you improve yourself. You have to be setting like what we call like complex standards. Like you can, as I told you, like, okay, tomorrow I know a bit better. I'm a much better person. I know how to communicate better. I know how to deal with things in life better. I know how to deal with my emotions better. And I know how to communicate, which is one of the, for me personally, one of the more important things when you talk about groups is the communication. People, especially like with so much usage of social media and stuff, people, they are not communicating. Like, and when I talk about communicate, it's not just listening to words, but like people, they tell you stuff, but actually you have always to look at the person and say, what is the meaning behind the message? You know, the message is sometimes people like, hey, like happened here at the front, hey, are you parking here longer? Because on Tuesday we're gonna be moving out and the car is in the middle, right? And then you can say like, what an idiot, right? Mm-hmm. But instead you could just listen and try to decode the message. It requires a lot of brain work, but it is possible, right? Decode the message and say like, he meant, excuse me, I'm kind of afraid that I don't have space on Tuesday to move out. Would you help me to find a solution? You know, so let's work together to find a solution for this problem. And what I see in the politics, for example, which is the worst case scenario for me, like personally, I'm a very much like, I don't like politics or nothing, but what I see in the politics is that they just amplify this theater. You know, they talk their own ideas, and they all talk their own ideas, and they kind of scream at each other, and then people go on the streets. They don't listen to other people. The society is getting more differentiated in small groups, you know. So those groups are becoming complex within themselves, but they are differentiated. They are, and what happens in a system when it gets so, what I said at the beginning, when it gets so differentiated, like that part is so complex, that part so complex that they can't join each other anymore. That's in the system theory, there's something that calls disintegration. The system gets disintegrated. How do you fix this? Through communication. When the parts communicate, they can find common grounds, and one has to give out a bit of the differentiated part, you know, so they can find a common ground and be reintegrated and become much stronger. So as a society, man, exercise communication at the highest level. Yeah, nothing. There's nothing else. Yeah.
I think it's a great advice, and it's like, yeah, it's we have a little word in our dojo because it's like that. You have different people from different backgrounds, and it's through communication that you create the perfect system. I think
Exactly.
it's a great
Everybody's
idea.
different, man. Everybody's different, man. You cannot expect people to do what you want because you believe this is the right thing, you know, or people to know how you feel. That's what people, especially about feelings, is so difficult. Like to take that deep breath and say, I feel that. How can I communicate my feeling without being misinterpreted? I feel anger. I feel afraid. I feel, you know, how can I communicate that so the person at the end will even cooperate? Maybe not cooperate, but at least understand, you know, and not get angry at me. Or maybe I'm angry at that person because that person said this. How can I express this in a way that the person will at least be less angry and understand what I mean? And of course, this is a exercise. We do mistakes. I do mistakes also in this. Sometimes I let it out and suddenly I missed the opportunity, you know. But then that's the thing. You have to learn from those communication mistakes you have and improve it. Improve it to a point that, you know, you can talk to people from different backgrounds, different ideologies, like I don't call it ideologies, different mindsets, different religious backgrounds and political views and stuff, but you can find common grounds. If you don't find common grounds, you don't have a society. You have a differentiated system, and I'm afraid that's what happened today. Like as I told you, a lot of groups are just like too differentiated, too complex within themselves that they are disintegrating the whole.
Society. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you are completely right. Yeah, and it's something, yeah, but I think it's true communication and empathy with the other. Like you are saying, if we talk, I have to listen to you. It's not just being there saying, it's really listen, hearing the person. I think it's a great advice. Now I want to know, how do you describe your mindset?
What do you mean, like mindset?
Mindset, how do you
Which
describe
in
if you have
which
a problem? How do you act if you have a problem, if you are in a, I want to
well,
see. Tell me,
there are
tell me.
two things. There are two things you can do. Like, and jiu-jitsu is very good for this, right? Because jiu-jitsu is constantly bringing you to us that problem scenario. You find problems all the time when you do jiu-jitsu, right? And it's a funny thing. It's a funny tool to learn how to develop this kind of skills because yeah, it involves the whole body, the whole mind. But yeah, I do with jiu-jitsu approach. If I have a problem, well, there are two things. If I can't solve the problem, right? If I can't solve the problem, I will do my best to make the problem not get worse, right? So if somebody passes your guard, right, and you can't escape, stay there and, you know, breathe and then try to find your way out, you know, but don't make it worse. Don't make the guy mount you. Don't make the guy take your back or so, right? So if you have a problem and you can't solve it by now, try to make it not get worse. try to stick with that level of problem, wait for the right opportunity and find a solution, get out, right? If you can solve it, you better have a good plan, right? You have a good plan of like identifying the patterns. I've been through that once experience, for example, right? If you don't have much experience, if you're young, then better trying different things, you know, try different kinds of solutions. Even if you fail at the beginning, you're gonna be failing a lot, but through the failures, your system, your mind, your body will be more complex to see that pattern, identify the pattern, see the signs coming, you know, and then be able to prepare. Sometimes problems also are time bind, you know, like this will happen, I don't know when, you know, but then you see the signs, you know, you get the map of the road, you know, turn right, turn left. You don't know how long it take, but you know that, oh, maybe when I saw that fence, the guy told me that I'm close. So you get these ideas, you know, okay, the problem is coming, you know, I don't know when it's coming, but it's coming to my direction. I feel that somehow, like let's say in jiu-jitsu, I feel that somehow, I don't know, but the guy is like moving too much to that. There's some suspicious. Is, you know that there's something coming, so prepare. You know, prepare to like, as I said, prepare to avoid if possible, or if you can't avoid, prepare so it doesn't make it worse. That's the first thing. Now, if you don't have any plan of action, you know, when the problem comes, if you are not prepared, then you're gonna suffer a lot. But it's not bad neither, because you're gonna learn a lot as well, you know. So you're gonna learn how to prepare next time, how to develop plan of action, how to prevent, and when it comes, if it comes, you can't stop. How to make it so that it won't get worse, and then the first opportunity you're gonna solve that, and you know, problems in all the kinds, money, relations, everything, you know. I see the systematic like always the same to solve them.
So I like a lot, like the mindset, and you answer already my second question. That is how you related, and how do you think that jiu-jitsu help you to improve your mindset, because it's your mindset.
It is. Yeah.
And now I want to ask you a little bit. I love music also. How do you think that we can use music as a mood changer or a kind of therapy? Do you think that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that in like I cannot say it is universal, but it's for almost all people. Music has an important function to regulate, and especially emotions, right? If you look like, for example, you know, you see a concert, so many people watching, and the band like connected through the music, singing, you know, so it creates such a positive environment. And I believe music plays such an important part in our lives. Of course, people have different tastes for music, which is absolutely fine. Can you imagine if somebody just listened to the same thing, you know? And other people's they respond much easier to music stimulation than others, you know. Many people, they just listen, and they don't get the message behind it, you know, like they don't see like how the you know, the music is like the song, or you know, it's evolving, and the elements, and you see how the time and you know, everything like coming together with a good song, you know. So I believe be able also to feel the music, but also not only feeling, but also like interpreting the music, like seeing the patterns inside the music and how they repeat and how they change. It's a very good therapy for your both of your brain regions, you know. You have like this left analytic that's like breaking down the music and seeing, oh, the bass line is changing, wow, it's evolving, wow, the guitar now stopped, and then another instrument is coming in, and then you know, you see how they are interconnected. It helps you like to be more aware of pattern recognition, of pattern sounds, which is very good for your brain, but also the part of your feelings. How do you feel with that change? You know how, and this, I told you, like if you have like small kids and so, just make them listen to a lot of music, listen to music with them, if possible, play with them something, you know, even if you're just drumming on the table and stuff, because this will create first a strong bond between you and you know, and for example, with my daddy, right? I had a strong bond when he was alive, like with music. First memories like with him listening to music and say, look at this bass line, you know, it's like what is a bass line, you know, and yeah, then he was playing too, right? He was playing his instrument, his keyboard, and I was like always on, like listening, very curious, like playing around also. And this develops everything: curiosity. You become emotionally more stable also because you understand your emotions, how to recognize them. You become better at understanding at other people as well. You become better at seeing patterns and identifying patterns, even when problems, let's say the music is so calm and then suddenly brrr, so you get prepared for so many things. So music is a very important therapy. Yeah.
Perfect. And also you talk about meditation. I want to do, what is a normal session of meditation? Which kind of meditation do you do? Can you tell me a little bit, please?
Like the classical meditation schools, right? You have, for example, what can I say about meditations? Like you are lowering down your let's just go like you're lowering down your brain waves, right? You are not much in a state of arousal all the time, but you are like calmer, right? Inside, like inside those brain waves in your the beta brain waves and so on. So you are getting them lower, so your brain gets into a more like a more maintenance mode. You know, you get more you feel like more connected with your whole body, right? There are many ways of achieving this experience. The most, like, let's say, people argue, but let's say one of the most efficient experiences just like laying down or sitting down somewhere and paying attention to your breath. That's what people are telling this for many, like thousands of years, right? And this is a very powerful way to calm the waves, down the waves, because when you have those very calm brain waves, when you feel like that calmness inside your mind, like, you know, there's this, I always like this analogy of water, you know, like, but when the water is very calm, you know, then you can realize some things that were like very underneath that whole noise. Like a lot of noise, and then you don't see, you know. But when the water gets very calm, and then you look, what, you know, there's a glass of bottle under the river, there's like a garbage down there. What, I better have to take that garbage out, right? So you see this when the water is calm. When the water is like, you don't see, you look, you just see, like, you know. But when you get to calm that down, you look and then say, now now if you have the courage to go under the water to get the garbage, you know, out of the water, this is another subject. It's not meditation that is doing this. It's like your honesty, you know, and you need to be very, also, what's the word again, courage. You need courage, you know, to enter in the water. Sometimes the water is very cold, you know, and then go underneath and pick up that garbage that's laying down there that you see. But yeah, meditation is providing you this, but how to use it? There are many methods. I tried many. You can just have the if you have for example, a zazen, you know, like a school that teaches zazen meditation. Zazen meditation is a very good meditation, very good method. It's actually very straightforward. There's nothing much fancy about zazen. You just have to find a pillow where you sit, have your posture there, stay there for a while, thinking about feeling your breath. Sometimes teacher comes, slaps you here, just so relax, because you shouldn't stay like that. And then you drink some tea afterwards and you go home. That for me it is a very good method because it doesn't fantasize. What's the problem? People nowadays, they have their own inner experience of what meditation is. I saw some lights, I saw some mandala, I saw ohms, I saw many things during meditation too. It's like I could tell about all the weird stuff that I saw, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anything. It's very useless. If like I'm a yoga teacher, and I make jokes about that, I know what those words, for example, chakra, really means, but what people like, then you activate your chakra and stuff, it doesn't matter, man. It's useless experience, So that's why I like Zazen, because there's not much to discuss. You just sit, do your exercise, pay attention to your breath, and afterwards you go home, So Zazen school is a very good one, I believe. Yeah.
And you were saying about grabbing the mind garbage. I think that I think everybody has garbage everywhere in the mind also.
Yeah,
How do you if you have to give me advice how to start working on cleaning the garbage of my mind, it will be.
Yeah, first of all, man, be aware of the fears that will come, because the fear is the first emotion that will arise. The guilty also. The guilt is the second biggest. What can I say? Hindrance. The second. Like you have the fear. Like should I really enter that water, man? I saw that for 5 seconds. Like the water was like this, and then I managed somehow, like a beginner, right? I managed somehow 3 seconds, and then I saw there was like a can, a trash can, a can of whatever, a bean can. Like I was dirty there, but then the water came back. Should I enter and try to take out that garbage? And I'm afraid the water is too cold. It's like sea, and it's too much wind coming. I don't know if there are sharks or whatever. So I better stay outside the water. That's the first feeling that stops a lot of people, for getting and making this inner work, this inner cleaning work, right? So second thing that I say also that stops you is the guilty, or it is like really inside there, or should, So then the guilty and the shame is the third, because then people instead of they when they feel guilty because that garbage is in their mind, let's say, for example, in their property, like in the river. Let's imagine the river that flows into your property there, and you feel like, did I throw that piece of trash under the water? I'm so guilty of having this. What if I go down, when I come back, then people are watching me taking that garbage, and people say, you put that garbage there, you're a bad person. So guilt is the second. Yeah, and the shame also, because you're gonna have to fight all this. People will face you, say, I did this, and then you have really like to say, be very brave and say yes. That's part of learning process. But then I guess this is a work for life. You're never done with that. If people say, I removed everything and I'm perfect, be very skeptical. Nobody's like that perfect master that like you see in these movies, like that. But there's jiu-jitsu proves you that. Jiu-jitsu proves you that, you're always under construction, like.
And I like that mindset. It's a work in progress. It's like it's a non-stop working. Like it's in jiu-jitsu, it's in our heads, it's in life. It's like you were saying, and that point you will grow as a person. That I think that is one of the points that we heard here. Now I wanted to ask you about daily routines. How do you think it's important? Do you have some of them?
Yeah, routines are important, definitely. Yeah, especially if you are like something like me, for example, right? That has a lot of ideas and then try this, try that. You can get lost pretty fast. Okay, so as you get older, routines will become more normal. Like if you're like early 20 and you believe, now I need a strict routine. I don't know, man. I like they will settle as time pass, right? But what I can advise is like you can try many routines as well. Not follow anybody, you know. Like I can give you a routine.
Mm.
I followed this routine for 6 months. So what, you know? Oh, and like it would be very hypocrite too because I'm changing my routine very often. Like I say, wow, it's good to wake up now at 8. There was time that I was waking up at 6. Now I wake up at 9, and I'm using more than night time. And then suddenly I change daytime, you know. So what I can say is like I can tell about how my routine has been, how has been changing as time passes, how it is today. Like I've been waking up very early, doing some yoga, having like no like fasting, and then eating what time, I don't know, 2 3 in the afternoon, and it's really good for it. Yeah, but then I said, why I'm doing this? I can change now and try something different. Now I'm doing this. I'm waking up between 8 and 9, and then I feel like, oh, my neck needs attention today, so I do one routine just for my neck. I don't need to exercise my whole body. Why, you know? Just my neck. Okay, my neck is better, feels better. All right, let me do my coffee, my morning coffee. I need that morning coffee. I'm still like having the second cup now. So I want that morning coffee and I drink that. And then I say, so what I feel like doing now, oh, all right, I have to answer my emails for Dojo. That's what I'm doing today. And then I finish answering my emails to Dojo. Then I have private, so I have to go there, clean the mats, do my private. So my routine is like based on pretty much how do I feel. But the only thing I tell, like, don't push things after, don't push things like later because you don't feel like doing them now, because this will give you problems, you know. If you have to answer those emails, answer right early in the morning, like do them. Like, no, you have to meditate. No, if you feel like your body, your mind is telling you, no, do that, just go that, answer that email. Afterwards you can meditate, you know. I like to play now. I use the nighttime to play to train my guitar.
Okay.
So after I come from training, you know, I sit, I practice 1.5 hour. I was doing this early in the morning back then. So routine is something that I advise to keep it like for a while and see how you're benefiting from it. And then after you see like, wow, I feel so good now. Yes, but what can I do now? How can I change it and see how it will go? You know, I still fasting, eating after 2 o'clock sometimes, like for 3 4 weeks. But then I say, oh, wow, this is Sunday. I want to have a nice breakfast. So it is very flexible. But in order to have a very flexible routine, you also need to be very honest to yourself. You cannot enter like this kind of self-sabotage and say, no, my routine is wake up at 12 every day. You know, it doesn't work like this. You really need to be flexible in your routine, but you need you need to get to stuck to things and do things that you don't like. You know, sometimes sitting on a computer and answering the same emails every day. Oh, have you tried this? Have you did this? But you know, you have to do it quickly. Finish that thing you don't like, you know, so you can dedicate to things you really like, and you feel you have a lot of time. I finish all the unwanted work very early, so they're done. And then say like, what now? Now I can play guitar. Now I can write things. Now I can read something and then get it, you know. So basically that's my advice for routine. Yeah.
I think it's a perfect advice. Like it's something that it's not rigid. You adapt it to what you are listening.
Exactly.
You prioritize by what you don't like to do for what you like to do.
Yeah. Do what you don't like first.
Exactly.
Because this thing of that this is so like maybe I should do later, that's what destroys you everything, because you keeps in your mind, you don't do this, you don't do what you like nicely, because you're gonna always have this feeling of guilty. I should should just do it first, like solve everything first, and then you can enjoy your day and go outside when the weather is good, you know. That's or if you have work, like this 8-6 work, then you have to be more rigid in your routine, as long as you're, I have my courses, I have my privates, then I know, okay, I have to go now to dojo, like tomorrow I have this private, so I go before half an hour, clean the mat, I have my private, then what should I do? The weather's good, I have time, so you create time by doing everything like right early. Like I can, if somebody sends me a request for private, just put early in the morning, not that I don't like, but just like finish with that first, so you have a lot of time, Yeah.
I think it's perfect advice. And I wanted also, because it seems that you listen a lot to your intuition.
Yeah.
In a society that is always telling you to do, how do you think that we can develop more that characteristic in ourselves?
Yeah. Always talk to yourself. Like communication is not only towards the outside, communication is also towards yourself. And it's very difficult, like, because there is there is one bigger self, like, but there are many selves, and each one wants something from you also, so learn to communicate with them, learn how to say what that little child wants, like I'm 35, but I know that there's still a little child inside, and you have to be nice with that child, man. If you punish the child, you say like, why, I have to be nice with the child and say, oh, how are you today? What, like, I don't talk like this, or I always be very crazy. But as just like an example, what do you want today? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling safe? Are you feeling sad? Why? So this is what I believe is more like the intuition. Intuition, when you learn how to communicate, to exercise like this kind of inner communication, and then you're gonna see somebody will try to steal the stage and be the main, like, me, I am the most important, I need you to do this for me, I need you to go eat some chocolate for me because I demand, and so like, who is in there, why, so it is very important to communicate with those small parts of yourself. And this is I like this creative also one that comes in, yeah, now I can do this song, now I can I have an idea of a technique, I have this, that, you say, all right, and then the the organizer will come and say, all right, but how can you do this, like, I'm just gonna go explore, give me a plan, otherwise, I can't allow you to do that. All right, I don't have a plan, so you see, all right, that creativity was like kind of fake creativity. It's like, doesn't bring you anywhere. So you have those kind of managing systems in your head, in your mind, that that they have to be communicated with themselves. And that's what I believe, like, this is the voice of intuition that people talk, like, listen to intuition. But it's very, very easy to say, like, you are listening to intuition, but if nobody tells you how to listen to intuition, how do you know? Inner communication.
It's but let's see which advice, because sometimes it's like you said, it's confusing. It's my intuition, or I'm talking like I'm trying to do something to get the appreciation of somebody, and do you think that is through meditation that helps you to listen to your intuition? Which advice?
Yeah. Well, let me just change my legs position. Sitting on the cross legs, my desk. Yeah. Yeah. Meditation helps a lot. Definitely. That definitely helps because you learn how to differentiate the noise. As I told you, there is like can talk more like specific about archetypes and stuff, but let me try to make it more easy, right? Like more like understandable. And there is this kind of noise of, you know, we have a room full of people and everyone is trying to push their own interest. There is one that is there telling you why you're doing this. You know, nobody will like you if you do like that. Should you listen to that? You know, you are the manager. Imagine like you are in a room, in the meeting room, the table, everybody's sitting, and everybody's arguing this and that and that, and you are there just watching, right? You're gonna make a decision, and you're the manager. You can't. See that that guy is like telling you something, but he's actually just wanting to have more money, you know. Also, you're gonna have to make a decision for the group, and this is what I call like the manager. You know, the manager is just there sitting and watching, observing all those thoughts, right? And he gonna make a decision. He might know, all right, man, the pleaser is telling me to go and perform on stage, and then, you know, but what the pleaser really wants, you know, the pleaser actually, what he wants is to feel safe. Oh, all right, so how can I convince him that the best way is not what really wants, but if we go more into that area, so and then you're gonna feel that you don't have these conflicts anymore, you know, because I feel a lot of people, they have conflicts, they have their fears of being rejected, they have this, what's the name, minority, no German, like complex,
it's like
very
inferiority complex.
they feel, because they are missing this, just the small communications, you know, they feel like guilty also. People feel so guilty sometimes, and when they feel guilty, they try to make other people guilty, or try to make other people bad. When they talk something, you know, when they're insecure about their own point of view, they say like, yeah, it's because of you. You are the wrong one. I came here with good, you know, because they are like hijacked not by a true manager, but some sub parts of themselves that just grew inside the mind, the conscious mind, you know, and just took over, like. Yeah, like I'm, although it sounds very weird, because when you associate with yoga, you believe like, oh, this guy, you know, but I see more through the eyes of, today we call them psychology, modern psychology now. But it's like back in the days, or whatever, that people talk about the spirits and you know, but it's like just the mind. It's just everything starts and ends in the mind. You know? So if you get into that, understanding how to recognize those actors, those agents in your mind, and you are stay as the manager. You are not interacting, or just listen, and you're gonna make a decision. You don't fall into this. I don't say never, because sometimes when you are very tired, mentally tired, one of these characters will come and take the stage, and then tell you what to do. Are you a bad boy? You have to feel bad. You have to feel bad because you are bad. And you were like, I'm a bad person, you know. So, so when you are tired, sometimes you lose your focus, you know, which is something that I also tell, like, it's more about being focused. When you are like focused, you know, then it's much easier not to allow those noisy agents to steal your yeah,
the manager position, the other selves.
Yeah, because every of all those small you you know, they want to sit in the manager chair. They want to take over the manager chair. They want to say, no, I take yeah, I want to be the manager, and they sometimes they're gonna please you. They're gonna, oh, see, I'm so nice to you. I gave you some chocolate, so you feel nice, you know. So you're gonna try to please the manager, you know, like here's some, you know. So if you say, oh, thank you for the chocolate, but I put in my table here for next time. Thank you very much. But you know, you get very, you're always the manager, and then but the manager is highly focused, right? Because if the manager gets distracted, somebody screams, yeah, we need, we are earning 1 million a month, but we need 2 million, and the manager, yeah, you need 2 million, you know. So you don't have a critical thinking, which is other very important skill also to develop, like a focus, you know, be able to control yourself in situations that you could maybe do nothing and just watch TV, or you could just solve all the paper stuff, right? So a lot of people, they just fail that. They don't have that focus, right? The second thing is also to think critically on your own thoughts as well. Like, maybe this is not a good idea, you know. And yeah, I don't know, man. I've been always like that. You know, I've been always thinking also through all the stuff. Like, maybe this is not a good idea, stuff, or yeah, maybe it's a good idea, but I'm afraid, you know. So people don't spend much time thinking about these things. Maybe they just thinking how the world is unfair, how the neighbor is an asshole, and everything that's bad with me is not because of me, because I was told that I was perfect, but people outside, you know, and that's a problem.
Instead of working towards you, what I can improve in myself, it's easier to point the finger to, yeah, to you or to the other one. Or yeah, I think it's a great idea. Like, develop the focus and the critical thinking that I think it's inside of what you say about listen to your manager, to your personal
Exactly.
manager. Like,
Yeah, be able to shift. And that's easy to say because it's like a natural way of me, right? It's a very like, but maybe for other people they are more like different, more logical, or more. But be able to shift like into your own mind's perspectives, or also into other people, you know. Like if you can enter through the eyes of you know, the let's call the child in your mind, or the pleaser, we talk about this, you know. Then you can also enter the eyes of other people when they come, and then they talk to you. You are like kind of like seeing through their eyes, you know, like kind of, you're not, it's impossible to be inside people's minds, very much impossible. You can only reflect inside of you, right? So if you know yourself a lot, then you can understand other people also, because sometimes when they come, you might guess, like you're not, you cannot be right, but you might guess what that means. You can think critically and say, no, if the guy is trying to sell me, you know, trying to sell me this box here of bonbons for $20,000, I don't buy it, you know. So you're more critical, you know. You get this, no, it's not, you know, it's his impostor acting through him, you know. And I know in me I would not buy it. So you get this manager always in position, you know. And that's, yeah, that's important thing, man.
I think it's a great advice. Now I want to talk a little bit about the yoga, how the yoga appears in your life, the connection with
Oh,
jiu-jitsu.
yeah. Well, I told you about this first experience that I had, this flow experience. It was like, wow, you know. Then when was this? 2010, around 2010. I went to fight in London in Abu Dhabi trials, and there I've been hosted by a guy there, like in this couch surfing back then, you know. And he was like, yeah, have you ever tried Tai Chi? I was like, no, man, I'm here for Jiu-Jitsu. And then, and then he said, no, but I'm going for a free Tai Chi class and stuff. And I was like, free? No, let's do it. And it was good. Like, it was a bit like, and I was breathing, I was feeling so calm, relaxed. And I was like, oh, cool. I will try at the university in Berlin when I came back. And then I came back, and then I could enroll for many courses because they are like in university, some are free, others are very, very cheap, like 10 euros a semester. So I enrolled into yoga and Tai Chi. Tai Chi was cool, but wasn't really, like maybe my connection with the teacher wasn't the best. But yoga was good because I was there, and she wasn't like telling anything. She was just like, do this, do that, move, like not talking about, open your heart chakra and then get enlightened. It's this kind of bullshit. She was just like, and that's the good teacher, because then you will be feeling your own inner experience and experience it to your own. If you're feeling that you connected with Shiva or so, through the chakra opening and whatever, man, it's your stuff, it's not mine, So why bother me with your stuff? I know this is unnecessary, right? So, and she was a good teacher, and I felt like, okay, I feel much better physically, like, and the mind was like the circulation, like the blood around, and I was developed this kind of awareness of staying in one position. Like, we're talking about the postural yoga, right? Because there are many kinds of yoga. This is just the hatha yoga, like this one part of yoga. You have like kind of 8 branches of yoga. If I enter each one of them but then I found that was my first contact with yoga was through the physical, like the postural, the body yoga, like hatha yoga, which is very popular in the West today. Everybody's doing this kind of yoga. And then, I felt good practicing this. I felt like in the beginning was like helping my jiu-jitsu, right? I was like fighting better. I was being more aware of my position, I was reflecting, I was breathing better. I have a more balance, more posture. Yeah. Then I got like, is that it? Is that what people call yoga? Then I start like researching in depth, like what kinds of yoga there are, and then I tried everything, man. I've been to many, many places, many weird people, I told you, like, that's very deceiving. It's a multi-million industry, but very deceiving. People fake a lot, take your money as they want, and they don't give you like just like blue pills, so you feel like always. But like a red pill, it's like you're gonna. Yeah, they give you a lot of blue pills. In the yoga community is like about the chanting part, which is a very good thing. I like chanting mantra stuff, like there's all of these things. They have a meaning behind it. It's like as I told you before, it's like the idea is just to make your mind very, very calm, so you can look on the garbage, and then you're gonna have to do your work, So what and yeah, it's like kind of for me, when you call yoga today, is this the young guys today, they call this biohacking thing, like the fasting, they call meditation, they call like many sports stuff. Back in the days, those guys in India, man, they didn't have so much technology. What they could do is just, I just gonna look, breathe and look, see what happens, Oh, all right, so I feel better. Okay, so, if they were born today, they would be like those guys who sell books about how to have the coffee theory, and how do I make money making coffee and putting some things. So this is like the yoga guys, the yoga guys back then, they were like this biohacking, bulletproof, whatever, fasting guys, as self-help, meditation, and like they developed this kind of stuff back then, and they didn't have so much knowledge about the nerve system, so it's like there are some points in the body, you know, we call them chakras, you know, that's how they feel around this area. That's how they feel of this area. And they associate with the color, which is like, if you go to the infrared to ultraviolet, you're gonna see they are connected with all the parts of body. Like those guys are really smart, you know, they are very like ahead of it, way ahead of the times, you know. But for me, it's more like that's the way they could do the science back then. But for me, yoga got too much into a mainstream esoteric bullshit, brainwashing bullshit thing, you know, like it lost its meaning, which is like it's still here today when you watch like fields of psychology developing a lot of theories, you know, the sports field up talking about anatomy, how to make better exercise, every kinds of sports we have, even the martial arts, you know, ways of finding yourself through what you do, you know. This is yoga. So yoga is the connection you have, but people like call yoga this own bullshit, you know, and I get pissed off with this because yeah, man, the guys were chanting on back then, like 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, like, you know, vibrating their heads, which is an amazing experience, feeling like this, you know, or when you chant mantra many times, like, you know. But when you sing a song, man, you are also putting your feeling into that song, you know. When you listen to music, you know, this is yoga, man. It's called Bhakti yoga. You like you see those yoga guys like ba 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 playing, you know. They are doing what the rock bands are doing, you know. It's the same thing, but we want to romanticize. Yeah, and say, wow, those old men in the Himalayas and the mountains. Man, if I was living in the mountains too, I would be that way also. Like, you know, mountains are so peaceful, right? But be a enlightened being living in Berlin, you know, Kreuzberg, you know, where all of these crazy people are. Then I tell you, man, you are really bro, you know. So
I love it what you are saying, because yeah, it's true. It's like it's really easy if you are alone, but in the middle of the confusion, it's the test comes in that moment. It's not.
Yeah,
like...
my yoga teacher, he comes from the Himalayas too. He's an Indian guy, you know. And then when he comes to Berlin, I meet him once a year, right? And then when he comes to Berlin, he's like, perfect, you know. And then he comes, I don't understand why people are throwing bottles on the canal where the swans are swimming, the ducks, they are making everything dirty. People on this train station are so antisocial. What is the problem here? You know, so that's what I mean. You know, and what for me yoga today, which is more like what is interesting me more like is the yoga of the mind. You know, like people also call it the Raja yoga, right? One path of yoga. There are many paths. Like Hatha yoga is what people do, like this warrior, which I like. I'm just playing with this, making fun, but I like this kind of helps the body, right? But what I'm more interested in is the Raja path, you know, the yoga of the mind, what I call like becoming the manager, you know, and know how to manage your team without this to fall apart. This is what the ancient guys call the Raja yoga, which is like the royal path, you know, become your king, you know, kind of. This is for me the most interesting part.
And it's everything connected, like you say. The way that you find your manager or your intuition, as you can call it, it's by the Raja yoga. And Professor, it's the first time that I listen about Raja yoga. Can you describe for the ones that like?
Yeah, this is like, let's try to make like very quick. You have many paths, right? When you see like this meditation, right? You see like this is developed as a Kriya yoga, you know. It was very powerful, like very much developed. Like one of the guys who descended from the path and descended, like the Hindu guys or the yoga teachers sometimes, not all of them, but I got some like very ideologically brainwashed ones that said that Siddhartha, Buddha, for example, the historical figure, right, was a deserter. He because he thought he had his own thoughts, and he decided to say, it's not like that, I would follow my own path. And when people do this, you know what happens, right? But people get pissed off and annoyed. But he developed a lot of the meditation techniques we have, we still use today. For example, he and his disciples, and maybe he started with something, but then they kind of improved, and is still improving as time passes. Like, he wasn't set and done as perfect, but he kind of initiated something, and people went to improving as time passes. And nowadays things are improving. You cannot stuck like Buddha. 2,500 years ago, man, yeah, he was a master, he was a teacher, but Hélio Gracie was also a master teacher, but a 50-year-old guy doing berimbolo also would smash him like this, like
exactly.
we can like, but things are evolving as time passes, right? So yeah, and then you have this kind of meditation in yoga. The original, like in the path, was called the Kriya Yoga. Like, Kriya is like, how do you deal with your inner energies, how not to expend that much energy on the environment. People get so much stimulated, lose all the mind power, everything to the environment. Oh, everybody's looking at me. Oh, I'm ugly. So this dissipation of energy, you can use Kriya Yoga for keeping that energy in your system, right? Mental energy. I'm not talking about any bullshit energy. I'm talking like so keep your focus and awareness is the Kriya Yoga, right? And you have some breath exercises to keep yourself fit, your mind focused. Then you have Tantra, right? People, they misunderstand a lot which Tantra means. And I don't want to enter this because then it's like 4 hours of conversation about Tantra. So or longer than 4 hours. And then you have many other paths. Hatha, which this is what we do mostly when you see those girls on Instagram that did maybe ballet before. They're so flexible, and they go into a yoga pose, and everybody, wow, this is a real good yoga, And yeah, man, you're flexible. It's really nice to watch you, but this is not really yoga. This is fitness. Which is very good, very important also, right? So they developed also a system. It's not long ago what this kind of yoga that we do today in the studios, this warrior 1, warrior 2, this is not long ago. It's like I'm very bad at dates, but if I would say Hatha Yoga Pradipika was published 1500 something, 500 years ago. And then Krishnamacharya was an Indian guy, and the beginning of the 20th century, he was the one really developed this kind of yoga we have today, like this more like this yoga studio yoga, flexibility yoga, exercise. So people believe that this has like thousands of years. No, no. Like, you have some positions, some postures that are very old. That's true. You have some postures that people are doing, like this sitting meditation pose with the legs crossed. It's a very old yoga posture, right? It's like very, very old. But all this warrior stuff, this handstand, whatever, bring your feet over your head like this. This was like done at the beginning of 20th century. Also to impress the British, the foreigners, so they could bring them, to get a better work. Like Jiu-Jitsu guys are doing this today, man. We are coming, you are killing everyone. So people like, oh, come to Europe, Exactly. We are doing the same, But anyway, the yoga we know was developed like this, and it was called the Hatha Yoga. And now it's a problem because you see, there's also one kind of yoga that is called Hatha Yoga, but it's not the same. As you have one word, for example, Ashtanga, which is called from a book, a very old book, and a very book that I recommend for everybody who wants to understand yoga. Ashtanga means the eight path, the 8 points, you know, from yoga. The 8 and people use the name should call hatha style of yoga called Ashtanga, you know, that very commercial stuff. So those things are made a mess into yoga today that people don't know what yoga means anymore. They just think, they associate it immediately with the physical activity, which is good, which is also part of yoga, 10%, 5% maybe, right? Then you have many other parts. You have Tantra, they have Kundalini yoga, which is more esoteric and very difficult. I have a big problem with Kundalini, guys. Yeah, because they bring a lot of elements from Tantra also, and from Kriya, but they kind of put into words what it shouldn't put with words. Like all this, if you do like this kind of exercise, then your heart chakra will open, and if you put the green color on your heart, then you're gonna feel this. If you use that kind of clothes, then your upper chakra, like they are putting into words what they should be put in words, because it's a very subjective experience. I like to wear black, you know, so the heck, I have all their chakras closed or what, you know. So everybody has their own ways of interpreting things, right? And they make their own version, the interpretation, one system, and this is not what I like. And then you have the Bhakti yoga. I talked about the Bhakti yoga, which is a very beautiful kind of yoga. You have like bands, for example, Krishna Das, it's like a band. The guys, they just play music, you know, they just play Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, you know, until they feel good. And it's a very good way of doing yoga too. You have your guitar, you play in a loop, play 5 words that you like, until you feel so good that you feel like, wow, you know. So this is a good way of doing yoga, especially if you like music. Then you have the Raja Yoga, which is, for me, psychology. Like today, nowadays, what's the psychology? Understand yourself, you know yourself. Yeah. And of course, for Raja Yoga to be also really a powerful way, you or for any other parts, you need elements for others. You cannot just say, I just do Kriya, you know, like some people do, then you just sit for many hours, you know. I mean, yeah, if it works for you, it's good, but it's good to go in different paths and take elements for different paths and say like, sometimes it's just the body, sometimes it's just the mind, sometimes it's just my awareness, my attention, sometimes it's, you know. And that's for me, like the Raja Yoga is the manager of all the yoga branches, and say like, look, I take this, I take that, and I, you know. And always being careful also, because I've been contradicting a lot of yoga people, the yoga community, and I get so many like hit back, you know, like, I'm not a true yoga teacher, I don't know anything, I'm a young yoga teacher. Like, you're too young, like especially the old people, you know. Be careful when they have this. I love this, when you're digging holes and everywhere you don't find anything, you have to stay and dig one deep hole in one place, people say, which is like, follow blindly your guru, whatever he tells you. If he tells you jump off the bridge in the cold winter in the water, you do it without questioning, you know. I don't agree. Yeah,
I think it is. It's a perfect idea. Yeah, and it's like what you say. Some people try to monetize their passion, but trying to use others people's feeling. Like, yeah, some gurus, yeah, they come with another purpose. Like, and you were talking about books. I'm a big reader, Professor. Which book do you will advise me, or if you have more than one to read, which book do you will advise me to read?
A good book that people say it's difficult to read, but I didn't think. And many books, they get reference, like they go back to this book, you know, like I've been reading many books, and then they always come like kind of talk very much like they kind of, you see like, yeah, but this guy just not copy, but this guy just, you know, is the book called Flow. I have this book here, like I don't know, from like this, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, perfect. Yes. And talking about the flow state, the first time, if you want to talk a little bit more about the book, the first time it was when you competed.
Yeah.
How it is the feeling to being in flow, if you could achieve more times, that kind of feeling state?
Yeah. Yeah, if you read the book has a lot of information about this, but when you have experience that is very gratifying to yourself, but at the same time very complex, because sitting and watching TV can be very gratified, but doesn't build any complexity. It's not making you more complex as a being, right? It's not making you anything better. It's just, you're just passively absorbing some information. You can be very gratified. You can be entertained by watching television, right? But it's not building any new you understand. So when you have one experience that is gratified, at the same time challenging, it can't be just like easy, too easy, right? Because if it's too easy, then you get extremely like demotivated and bored. But it can't be like impossible to achieve as well, because then you get like overly like like not excited, but overly like afraid that you cannot make, you cannot achieve, and then you give up, you know. So it's a flow. It's a very delicate state where your experiences like matches the challenge you are doing, right? For example, jiu-jitsu helps me stay in the flow many times when I am training with a guy on my level, you know, or like when I'm in a fight today, also when I know that it's the same level, that I see the leg coming, I grab, I see the arm coming, boom, I'm moving, I'm like, you know, then I like, wow, you know, this is like, you are like in a tunnel, and you're just like, you're just feeling your complete being, like being completely, being completely like relaxed and completely connected to everything around you, you know. And time, you lose you lose the time when you are in this stage. Also, you like, time becomes infinite, you know. It's very difficult to experience, but time, like for example, when I play, when I'm recording some stuff that I have like my app here, I'm recording, I can have this guitar, and sometimes I start like, let's say weekend, right? I'm Sunday here on my home. Sometimes I come with my coffee, I sit and I start recording stuff. Then suddenly everything is dark outside, and then I should go to bed because it's like 1 a.m. But then you know,
yeah. You lose the idea of time.
Yeah, but that's the important thing. Afterwards, you feel more fulfilled, more like complete, more complex. Like you feel like you are expanded yourself. If you don't feel like this, then you weren't really in the flow. You will be distracted, and this is the danger. You know, people make confusion between those two stages. Sometimes you just got distracted. You are like, watch television, and then I have to go to bed. But did you feel more?
Did you grow?
Yeah, that's a feeling of wow. You know, you fight, and then whatever you win, you lose. Who cares? You know, it's important what you achieve in that fight, in the sense of holiness. Wow, I lost, for example, in the Europeans, the third match I lost this year, right, for the champion. The guy, he just destroyed me, you know. But I was at the same time, even the challenge was so hard, so huge. I was at the same time like you know, in that stage where I was like struggling for everything, you know. And then I lost, I don't know, 12-0 or so. They just took so many points. But then after that experience,
I went home. I laid down on my bed, and I was still like in those small fractions of second where he was giving me that input, and I was like my brain was like interact with that many times. I spent hours on that. So this is also another exercise of flow. After that, I felt much more like, wow, I feel like I know my jiu-jitsu now. I'm better at jiu-jitsu. You know, so there are many ways you can achieve this. When you bike, for example, you like, yeah, you see how your bread is moving with your, you know, you are like passing, oh, this street, did I pass right here? Or, you know, you kind of going around, you know, so you are, but then after that bike, you say like, I found that new path, that new way of doing the same thing. That curve I did with that speed, that gear. So you always, it can be done in many ways. You don't need to be an artist or a fighter, or, you know, like you can find it in many ways.
You can develop it in different ways, but it's I think it's important to have that, to achieve flow, or to me to have that eyes. It's important to be gratifying, complex, and you have to see also improvement, because it's like you said, it's you can get gratification from seeing a movie or television program, but what you will get, what you will improve from it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Finding ways of building complexity while doing activities that are gratifying, but not that difficult, but not that easy neither, but the right match, you know. And if you can find this many things you do, not only jiu-jitsu, not only play guitar, not only when you're reading, for example, then you get to that stage. And the funny thing is that when you learn how to get to that stage, for example, through jiu-jitsu, then you can transfer this to other things in your life. Or when you learn through music, then you can transfer it to when you're cooking, so it becomes what those Zen guys do, also talk a lot, you know, like you see those Japanese guys, like they're working in the garden, you know, and they just stay like working in the garden, like that guy's doing like which each stone, you know, like
understanding. It's like yeah. Tell me, Professor. Sorry. It's
yeah. I'm sorry.
It's like you said it. If you find the equation, you can apply that same equation to being in the state of flow in different parts of your life. But
yeah, exactly. You can easily transfer it to anything. But then that's the thing. You always have to understand which path you are in, and you know why you are doing this. Because I'm doing this for being rich and famous. I'm doing this to be a better human being, a more complex. Because that's being rich, you know. Being rich is when you look on the outside world, when you look into your inner world, and you identify your sleep patterns, understand how they connect better, you know.
Yeah, it's a perfect description of being rich. Like and I want to ask you now about the legacy. Which is the legacy that you want to leave behind you?
I don't have anything. Like I just wanna do my work, right? If people come to my classes and interact, you know, I wanna exchange, learn from them. Like show everyone that they can just change what they are. They don't need to get close, locked into a life narrative. I'm Brazilian, or I'm an engineer, or I'm this, I'm that. You can do whatever you want anytime in your life. You're this, I am too old for this. So that's the big excuse people do, right? So any time in your life you can change and do something completely different. I can start like surfing, and when I'm 60 or so, 70, right? Why not? You know, people can do whatever they want. And the true freedom is also through your own self discovery. You know, you can't find it outside. You know, you can't most of the answers are finding really within you, you know. You might try to say, that guy has the answer for my problem, I should go towards him. No, people have advices which are very good and very valuable, no? But the answers to your problems is like is with about you, you know. No, nobody can help you, you know. Actually, people can just advise and say, I've been through this once a few months ago, and the terrain was like this. Maybe change today, you know. You never know. So my legacy is more like this. I want to keep a good environment, keep on having people that coming and I can maybe do something for them while they're also doing something for me, because I am absorbing a lot of experience from them also. But keeping that exchange alive. And yeah, I mean, hoping that people become better citizens, better people, parents, and better parents to their kids, you know. Also with the kids, I want to keep on interact with the kids, teaching them anything in life, you know, that can be useful for later on. So we help giving some insights to those kids. Also, I don't have any big like megalomaniac plans of conquer the world or so. I just wanna be great within my own realm, you know. Not I don't have this expansionist territory, expansionist like primitive chimpanzee. I want to conquer the world. I want to have a statue of myself, you know, 200 years people remember me. I'm writing a handbook, right? So about Jiu-Jitsu, the main patterns of Jiu-Jitsu. I believe this is a good handbook. Maybe it's the first one of other handbooks I might be writing in the future as I get older. I might dedicate more to writing, making some music. But yeah, having a very, very like, yeah, very, I can talk happy. I don't like the word happy. It's a very deceiving word. But a very meaningful existence, you know. Being at the end and saying, yeah, I did a lot of stuff and I had a gratifying experience in my life, you know, like it was a flowing life. And who knows, you know, when we die, then that's it. Yeah, that's the legacy, you know.
It's a great legacy, and just the way that you helping other people to improve themselves, not just in jiu-jitsu, but as a person. And I think it's one of the great missions that a human being can have, it like helping other one to grow as a person. Like, I think it's a great mission. And now can we talk, it will be my next question, new projects and the book, of course. Can you tell me a little bit more about the book?
Yes, exactly. I'm starting with this book now. Like, I have some things written already, but basically it will be like the main patterns of Jiu-Jitsu, the main principles, because techniques, you know, they change all the time. And I've been already so many years. I've been since I'm very young, you know, learning how to do this technique that is changing all the time. But what I've realized is that you have like principles, right? And principles are unarguable. Like everyone agree on principles. Like from yoga, for example, no harming principle. You know, no harming is such an important principle, man. You know, so principles are things that we are agreeing that like we have a common ground. No one will harm the other. So it's a no harming principle should be like why government makes constitutions, laws. You don't need, you just need the principle, no harming, you know, don't harm, don't destroy property, don't destroy the other person, right? So things we agree, they're good, right? And jiu-jitsu, we have also principles, right? We have, no, and like posture, for example, if you don't have a posture, you can't fight. If you don't have a good posture, you can't engage in any attack, in anything. So if you break the other person's posture, you can initiate anything. So these are things you can go wherever in the world, even black belt, they will always agree the same. If you are not in a good posture, which consists in the balance, you have the movement, right? You can't do nothing, you know. And if as you are breaking the other of the opponent's point of gravity balance and the posture, then you can initiate many things, right? So there are many other things like, yeah, increasing your degree of freedom and constraint the degree of freedom of your opponent, placing the strongest parts of your body, the strongest parts against the weakest parts of your opponent. Those things, right? They're like principles. And then concepts. Then concepts, they're more creative, they're more free. Like gut passing, right? What makes jiu-jitsu like it is today, like the way you train, is because we create this more like this conceptual, strategic, positional system where you have like mount and you have back mount, like very stable and but there are concepts, you know, concepts of control, you understand? And they are very good, in my opinion. Like they're almost principles, because almost everyone's agreed that mount and back mount are good positions, for example. But anyway, they are not principles; they are just concepts, you know. And they can change. Maybe in 200 years, jiu-jitsu say like people are doing back mount. The best position in jiu-jitsu is being under the mount. No, I'm just kidding. This won't happen. But what I mean is that these things, they also like change, but as longer circles. You know, technique has a very small circles. Those concepts has longer circles. Yeah, concept of De La Riva guard, right? It's a concept. The concepts, they change also, but they're more individual too. So, and the handbook, I will also express my concepts. How do I approach a few things, a few grips, and why, based on principles. And you always recall the principles, because if you cannot justify your concepts based on principles, your concepts might be flawed. And maybe, you know, to what's the name, the top of the cake, like some techniques, but you know, techniques are just example, like a more tactic. Technique and tactic is the same. You have always like principles, you have the concepts, and then based on those, you create a strategy, which is an overall thing. Like, I will take the back when and then your tactic will describe how you perform the strategy. So what people talk, will people say technique, they want to learn the top layer, you know, but then the bottom, which is more important, they are actually not solid, you know. So what happens, they always keep forgetting, you know, and the students, show me a new technique, how a move. Can you show me a move, professor? Yeah, of course, I show. Like you spin 180 degrees like this and you take the back. People, wow. But then they repeat, but then when they go home after 2 months, they don't remember, you know. So yeah, because those underlayers are not so solid. So in the handbook, I want to work more into those movement, core, like movement, leverage, balance, and posture, and then concepts, and a few techniques. Yeah.
And I think it's like the way, and I love that in your classes, it's like that you give the concepts to the student, and you can tell me if I'm mistaken, but after you let the individual person have his opinion about the technique. You are not a close-minded, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah, there's always like different approaches, different coaches, right? And I don't know, criticize, because some people, they want to more centralize, more control. They say, do this way, never do that, you know. But you know how many times as a student I was listening to go to seminar for a world champion, they say, never do that. And then 6 months ago, I go to another seminar and the other champion say, never do that. But wait a second, they contradict, you know. Why they're contradicting? Why? That's the first thing you have to ask, why there's contradiction, you know. It's not because he's wrong, he's right. And that's what we believe it is. Like, we believe like, no, because he's seeing one thing within his framework that the other guy is seeing completely different within his framework. But both, when they perform the action, they avoid this and they do the other thing, but both achieve something that they actually were aiming at. It's not because both are wrong, you know. So if it is a concept, not a conceptual flaw, but if it's a principle, if the guy has a neck broken, like no posture, you say, now you do like this, and then you might say, oops, based on the principle of your posture, you are flawed, you're wrong. Then it's something you can argue. But you know, when the people show a technique or show one variation of a grip, or this is that's what I think is very beautiful, because you know, everyone has the the freedom to explore, you know, and they can explore, they can go and they see how it changes, and then I learn also. So like, wow, how did you do that? You know, so if I see that is completely out of the context, completely out of any principle, if the person has a bad base, like see, I could break your posture that easily like this, be careful, it's a house of cards you build. So I stop and I correct, you know, but I don't constrain you to say, no, that's the only way you can execute that movement, because this is for me like time experience, like more than, I don't know, the 90s doing judo, and beginning 2000 doing jiu-jitsu, right? So time has shown me that those things, they change very much, and each the generation is bringing something. Like I tell you one example, concept of guard pass. When I started, like you pass with your knees, you make a combat base, and then you start passing. Then butterfly came with Marcelo Garcia Terere and this, that, and a lot of guys. And then what happened? Stand up, don't stay with your knees on the ground. Then when I was like around purple belt, everybody was standing up, because, you know, if you put your knees on the ground, butterfly will come. Then you stand up. Now everybody's doing, no, then 2010 stuff, everybody's doing berimbolo. And now what the guys are telling, knees on the ground, you know. And then what happens? Ada Vajinsky, and so all the guys are coming with the butterfly again. And people say, never put the knees on the ground, stand, you know. So you have to understand what's going on based on those layers on the bottom, so you can understand and develop your tactics, or let's say even your strategy, like more like knees on the ground, or knees is like more strategy. Tactic is like how do you pass the guard, use the knee cut pass, you use this like tactics are like tools in order to achieve your strategy, right? Yeah,
it's a perfect idea. And now, when can we expect the release of the book?
Oh man, I used to be very slow.
Okay.
I used to work very slow. So let's see if everything works fine. If because I need help, also the people are helping me with this. They're writing some parts also. I say we record. Let's hope that the winter, like end of the year or so. That's my deadline. Right? But I'm, like I say, Elon Musk also never completes the deadline. You know, I'm not complete the deadline. I'm a very, very bad at deadlines, man. Which is, yeah, but let's see. But that's a project I'm working it. And also I have this thing, I want to be sure that the message there is good. You know, like that I know that it can last for at least 10 years, you know, because, you know, you buy a book with ideas and then suddenly science or whatever just destroys your, like, you look at this book is outdated. I don't want it, you know. I don't want people to take my book 10 years from now and say it's pretty much outdated, you know. I have so many BJJ books also, you know, from the beginning 2000. You look at them, outdated, you know. So that's why the danger when you put techniques in the book, you know, because you look
yeah, but I think that the idea behind the book it's great, because it's like the concepts, the principles will stay after the techniques. Using that principles and that concepts, you can apply and change and develop, you know, like develop them. I think it's a great idea. Do you want? I don't know if you have any other projects that you want to share with us. Anything?
Yeah, in the moment, my biggest goal is just to go every day and improve you guys much as I can. I don't have huge projects in my mind. I just, yeah, maybe I am trying to make a metal band. So if you guys, somebody knows a drummer, I believe. Yeah, I know. This is a kind of side project, you know, like have a band. You know, when this Corona stuff is gone, then maybe we can make some small concerts and stuff. Yeah,
I'm going to the concert.
Yeah.
I want to. I know that the professor, you are not a big fan of social media and everything, but if the people want to talk with you, where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm not like a regular poster. I was doing this before because a very good friend of mine who has, I don't know, he has so many 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 followers, a famous guy, you know, in his field, also from sports stuff. And he was like pushing me, like, I have to do every day, you know. But I was like, I know it's too much, man. Sitting with my phone all the time, you know, I just take my focus, because then some other guys posting, and then my friends, like people from me, they expect me to go, like, and I say, I don't give a shit, you know, to your picture. If you are eating a noodle, or if you're eating chicken with your girlfriend, I don't fucking care, you know, so leave me alone, you know. But and then they're like, you didn't like my post and stuff, like, seriously, I don't care. I don't even watch. And sometimes, since my social media, I follow not many people there, you know. And then sometimes when I post something, when I know, okay, I would like just the 5 pictures that come like this for my friends, and then I close it again. That's because for me, it's like taking a lot of my attention, you know, like I don't know, like I use a lot of YouTube, for example, because I can have 1 hour video of some idea course that I can watch through, and like a platform like it, although it's like, it's a lot of censorship going on and stuff, but anyway, you can find content that you can just get 1 hour, half an hour, sit and watch, and then take notes and learn and stuff. But Instagram is too fast, you know. Instagram, like 1 picture and then one, so another one, then suddenly I go with those huge boobs, like my wife's like, I don't know, man, I have no idea. So but you guys can find, I answer the direct message. People write in direct message, and they ask stuff in direct message, and then whatever. What do you think about this? Would you have my advice? So my breathing sucks doing jiu-jitsu. What can I do? These things I can write. I can, you know. When I see that I get a, like in the icon, you know, the phone, like when I get like a message, you know, and then I click and I open, yeah. But if not, then I don't open it. And I don't like posting much. But if you go Red Fox PGJ, you can find.
Okay. I will put in the description of the video. I will put also the website of the dojo. Also, if somebody wants to try a class and it's in Berlin, it's for me the best academy. Professor, to end, do you have any last thoughts or advice that you want to share with me or with the viewers / listeners, please?
Yeah, think for yourself. Never allow anybody come to you and say like, you should do this because it's the best thing. You should always ask why he's thinking about this. Is it really good for me? Like, learn the art of critical thinking and communication, right? Improve your attention span. Don't just get like 2 seconds and then go for next instant gratification thing. These things are destroying, especially the young generations, right? So learn how to focus more, learn how to communicate within yourself, learn how to communicate with other people, and your life quality will improve very much. Yeah.
Big advice, Professor. Thank you so much one more time. Big lesson, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, and follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Instagram, everything. Okay? Thank you, Professor.
Okay. Thank you. Valeu.